shall be looking at the structure and function of the skin, but before that I would like us to do a brief recap of what we learned previously. Skin being one of the organs responsible for the excretion in the body, we said that we have other organs, for instance the kidney and also the liver. These two are also involved in the process of excretion in the human body together with the skin. For today, let us basically look at the skin and its role. To note is that skin, it is the largest. Skin is the largest organ which is involved in the excretion of the waste product from the body among the others. That means these two which we look at, the other that is the kidney and the liver, skin takes the largest part. Again, to note is that skin as the organ, it covers many of the body. That is, the most body part is being covered by the skin and even including some openings such as we have the openings such as the nostrils and also the eyes. These are openings, but in them they are being covered by the skin. So we go directly to the law or else the functions of the skin which it performs in the body. This means skin being that the largest organ we have noted, what is the core purpose or else the functions, or if these functions again we can call them the roles. The roles which the skin serves in the body. The main role, as we can all see, is that the skin forms the protection base of the body. In protection, we mean that it is the skin which takes care of the other inner part of the body. For instance, in case of a mechanical damage, it is the law of the skin to prevent the other inner part of the body from being damaged. That means the skin can be damaged, but the other part of the body are not damaged. The other law is that the storage of fat. That means within the skin there is a layer of fat. This layer of fat is the one which is responsible for insulation of the body. Insulation, we mean that this fat, it prevents the body from loss of heat or else the entry of cold, especially when it is very cold. This fat is the one which protects the heat from the body from being exposed to the outside and even the surrounding coldness from getting inside the body. The other is that the reception of stimuli. The reception of stimuli, for instance, when it is cold, or else in an event of pain. It is the skin which is going to detect that the surrounding environment is very cold or else the surrounding environment, if there is pain on it. What happens is that, take the case of a finger. If the surrounding environment becomes very warm, the skin within the finger is going to send a message to the brain, whereby this message is going to be interpreted, and then after the interpretation from the brain, then a message is again sent back to the finger, which now gives the finger a warning note that there is some warmth surrounding it, and then the finger takes the role of escaping the same. We can also say that the other law of the skin is temperature regulation. Temperature regulation, that means the temperatures within the body are being regulated by the skin. When we mean regulation is that it controls the temperature to the optimal temperature requirement of the body. In that, when it is very hot, It is up to the skin and the sweat ducts, which are within the skin, which now creates the law of releasing a lot of heat, thus regulating the body temperatures. And again, when it is very cold, the less sweat, there is sweat which is being removed by the skin, so that then less heat is being lost so as to maintain the optimal body temperature. The other issue about the skin, or also the last law, is that the protection of the underlying cells. These are the cells which are immediately after the skin. That means the skin being on the surface, it takes part in protecting these cells. Don't confuse when we say protection of the underlying cells, and which we previously said about the protection from the mechanical damage. Here on the mechanical damage, this protection is whereby it takes care of the all other parts of the body which are inside, but these ones, it is the immediate cells which are after the skin. Okay, next, let us now look at the main part of the skin. To note is that the skin is made up of the two prime parts, which are then within those parts there are some other part which makes it. The first part, and now which forms the outer part of the skin, is called the epidermis. And the other part is called the dermis. These two, epidermis, it forms the outer layer of the skin, and then the dermis forms the inner layer of the skin. Let us now look into details what is the component of the outer layer of the skin, which is now the epidermis. As we have said that the epidermis forms the outer layer of the skin, it has other three parts which combines so as to form the supreme law of the epidermis. The first layer is called the confined layer. Confined layer, this is the outermost part of the skin, and which has the dead cells. The dead cells, that means these cells have no life, and now in case of anything, that means whether there is a stimuli, these cells cannot detect because they don't have the live nerves. It means that if within these cells there is no nerves, then it cannot detect anything, of which now it is up to the next layer which has the live cells, which in case of a stimuli, it is going to detect and then send the message to the brain. But then the supreme law of this layer is forming that protection. This protection, it can be in two ways. That means against the entry of microorganisms and also the damage to other parts. We mean the protection is from entry of microorganisms and also the damage. That means then when you are being subjected to the loss of the confined layer, you see protection from the entry of microorganisms, and then the microorganisms which we are referring to here are mainly the pathogens. Pathogens, the case of the virus, and even the bacteria. Then the damage from the other part, this is because the confined layer, it is very hard because it does not have the live cells. That means it has only the dead cells. The next layer within the epidermis is called the granular layer. Granular layer, this forms the immediate part. It forms the immediate part from the confined layer. It is the immediate from the confined layer, and this granular layer, it has live cells. The granular layer has live cells. That means it is now within the granular layer whereby the detection of the stimulus takes place. In case of a stimulus such as what we see in the case of the pain, heat, or even cold, it is now upon this layer because it has the live cells. Within these live cells, we have the nerves. The nerves now are the one to get the stimulus and then send it to the brain for interpretation. Then a message is being sent back to this layer for the immediate action to take place. The third layer within the epidermis is the malpighian. The malpighian layer, this is the third most layer, and within the malpighian layer is that there is a lot of live cells. And not even just a lot, but all the cells within the malpighian layer are all alive. The live cells. Still within the malpighian layer, we have a pigment called the melanin. This pigment called the melanin, it has some roles. For instance, it is the one which gives the skin color. When we say giving the skin color, it is with respect to where is this body. For instance, there are those whereby the skin color, it can be black. The skin color can be white. Now when we say giving the skin color, it is with respect to where is the body, whereby that skin is. Not necessarily this skin can be black or white. It is with respect to the situation or the place where that body is. Still, the melanin, it is the one which protects the body against the ultraviolet rays. These are the extreme rays from the sun, which, if they are not well taken care of, they can lead to cause some diseases, for instance, the cancerous cells. The cancerous cells, these are the cells which develops in the body, whereby in case they are not fully controlled, they can result into turning all the other body cells into abnormal functioning, and that is the result of a cancer. Okay, that marks the end of our lesson. Today we shall proceed next time from there. Thank you.